our case, Superstorm Sandy was New Jersey's worst natural disaster in its history and is the second most expensive disaster in our nation's history. Today, 2 years after the storm, thousands of families are still not back in their homes. Thousands. And we talk about the beaches and the boardwalk and all of that, which is great and important to our state, important to its economic vitality, but the very essence of community is people in their homes. And thousands are not there. And they face the wind and the storm and the surge, but what they're facing now is far greater in some respects than the natural disaster that took place. They're facing a government that isn't sufficiently responsive. They're facing a situation where a federal judge in New York found that insurers were purposely changing engineering reports to claim no responsibility to pay the insurer or to lowball them. And in fact, since we, the federal government under FEMA, is the one that lets these write-your-owns write the insurances, we should be looking into that. And then finally, we have the tax code, which is why I appreciate you and the ranking member having this hearing. I just read today of a New Jersey resident from Sayreville, New Jersey. She owes the IRS $22,000 in taxes on income she never saw. She owes this amount because she was flooded 3 times in 3 years, the last one being Sandy. So she accepted a government buyout, which was $70,000 less than she owed on the mortgage. And while the bank wrote off the debt, she still is owing income taxes on the $70,000, leaving her with a tax bill she can't afford because she's on a teacher's salary. This is someone who did the right thing, paid her insurances all along, someone who took the action to reduce future flood damage through repetitive loss, and now gets hit with a $22,000 tax bill. So we've got to look at that as a final provision and as one of the provisions that I think, whether permanently or otherwise, needs to be dealt with. And then the final thing I'll say is that, you know, I voted to similar victims to give them the tax relief in Hurricane Katrina. I voted for the Midwest flood victims from 2007 and 2009 because I understand when we say this is the United States of America. And that's what it means to me. Now, we have a reticence, it seems, to be able to create the same type of relief that we extended to those fellow Americans in the challenges we're having on the East Coast. And that's simply not acceptable. So I hope we can get to the point in which we, one, can deal with the emergency that exists with these people who, through no fault of their own, find themselves with tax bills that they never realized any benefit of, and then seek some permanency so that we don't have to do this ad hoc and respond to people's lives and get people back in their homes. And I appreciate the opportunities.